Welcome back to another episode of War in Cali. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the Playboys gang. The Playboys, also known as PBS-13 to show their allegiance to the Mexican Mafia, or just PBS, and the Rabbit Gang have been around for a long time. They used the Playboy Bunny to represent them. The original clique was said to have started in the 1950s as a car club in West LA. Several members were later said to have moved to the east side of South Central and started the East Side Playboys. Even more cliques would pop up in the following years, like the Southside Playboys, who are in Southgate. With them having cliques in different areas, the different cliques have different rivals. The Westside Playboys beef for gangs like the 18th Street, who also has multiple cliques all over, as well as MS-13, another big gang, and the Westside Drifters. The Eastside Playboys rivals include 38th Street, F13, and 18th Street. To get this story started, I gotta take you way back in some of the gang wars. But with that being said, let's get into some cases. Walter and several teenage Playboy members were chilling at Griffin Park when an 18th Street member pulled up to the park and started banging on the Playboys. This led to a fight. Later on that night, the Playboys were riding around in two cars looking for 18th Street members. Seeing an 18th Street member named Gilbert standing on the street, several Playboys jumped out, caught him, stabbed him, and beat him to death, taking his life. Walter will be later sentenced to 15 years to life for this crime. On the evening of May 12, 1983, Jose, Efren, Miguel, and Gordo from 18th Street were riding around looking for Playboy members to shoot. They drove on the street and spotted a group of Playboys on the corner. The 18th Streets then pulled out their straps and started to fire. Two Playboys, Jesus and Kevin, were shot. Jesus would lose his life, but Kevin survived. Jose was charged with being a shooter and received life. He was released in 2019 after 36 years. On April 6, 1990, William from Playboy and other Playboy members went to a party. William ended up leaving the party early and ended up driving away. Several 18 members would confront him and throw bottles out his car as he left. William drove away and went back to his hood to get Manuel and a man named Arturo. When they arrived back to the party, they saw an 18th Street member named Daniel in the alley. He was drunk and stumbling. They told him to get in the car and that they would take him home. But the Playboys had other plans. The Playboys drove him in front of the party and threw Daniel out the car. They started beating him with other Playboys who were still at the party. This beating lasted up to 10 minutes. The Playboys then took him back to an alley, then threw him in a trash can. Then they doused Daniel with gasoline and set him on fire. 45% of his body had third-degree burns. William would be later picked up for this crime, and he would say he didn't kill Daniel, but he would say he took part in the beating. William wouldn't tell who else was involved and received a life sentence. In 2004, Fernando from Playboys was killed in a park, being stabbed multiple times. 2006, fellow Playboy member Edgar was green-lighted because he came out that he killed Fernando without being told so. Edgar would say Fernando was a snitch and he wanted to take care of him, but he would be punished for not getting permission. This led to Edgar being shot in the head, but he survived. By 2010, Edgar became a suspect in the killing of Fernando with people snitching on him. In an interview with the police, he admitted to killing Fernando. Edgar was later sentenced to life. By 2006, the West Side and the East Side Playboys had a gang injunction filed against them, prompting many of the members to leave LA and go to other cities and states. This also led to them committing many big crimes in other states. Santos and Francisco, both from Playboy, seen Angel and another man in front of a store as they were driving by. Francisco and Santos began shooting, leaving Angel dead. They soon sped off but crashed the car into a wall near the area of the store. Police found Santos' DNA inside the car, which later led to his arrest. Inside a cell which was being recorded, Santos admitted to shooting Angel and even crashing the car. This led to Santos receiving 50 years to life. Freddie and his brother Fernando from Playboys had been beefing with a man named Ivan for a while. Freddie and Fernando one night decided to drive by Ivan's house and fired shots in the air and yelled out Playboys. Several weeks later, Ivan was sitting outside his house with a few friends when he seen Freddie and Fernando drive by his block. Fernando then started shooting out the window at Ivan and his group, but nobody from his group was harmed. But an innocent woman who was on that street in her car named Shaquana, she ended up losing her life. Both Freddie and Fernando will be charged with this. April 29th, 2013, a man named George was shot and killed in the early morning. Several witnesses will see everything that happened and also see the car drive off. After getting leads, police would interview a woman named Wendy. She would say members of MS-13 were involved, and their names were Edward and Calvin. Because George was affiliated with the Playboys having family from that hood, they wanted to kill him. Edward and Kelvin was later arrested and placed in holding cells that were wired. Police would even have police agents faking as inmates inside their cell. The police agents would ask numerous questions, and Edward basically answered everyone that they asked, giving a rundown what his job was in the gang, and even the murder that he committed. He even gave them a step-by-step of what happened. With the recorded convos in the cell, and the woman coming forth with info, and Calvin and Edward both received 50 years to life. Mason and Luis met Victor on May 4th, 2015. The three men got drunk and high together, but after getting high, Victor started banging Playboy on Mason and Luis. But he didn't know they were from MS-13. Getting angry by Victor's actions, Luis socked Victor and began beating him, which led to Mason and Luis packing him out severely. They beat him bad. They beat him so bad that they put him in a coma that he would stay in for weeks, but he ended up surviving. Luis and Mason was later picked up after witnesses identified them at the scene. Mason received 16 years and Luis received 37. On September 30th, 2016, Anthony, Fader, and Little D from F-13 were hanging out in their hood when they found out their homie Omar had been shot by the Playboys. So when an older member from their hood named Jesus came, they decided to go on a hunt for Playboys. The group drove into Playboy's turf and spotted a man walking. Jesus got out the car and chased him down and shot him multiple times, leading to his death. They then got back in the car and drove away. The shooting was captured on a home surveillance system. This led to Anthony being arrested, where he snitched and told the police everything that happened. This later led to Jesus getting arrested. Jesus was denied to the police any involvement in the shooting, but in the cell he was placed in with an informant, he told the informant everything that he did. This got Jesus 50 years to life. On April 1st, 2016, Nelson and Oscar from ATC were hanging out on 39th Street when a car pulled up and started firing at them, hitting Nelson 3 times. Oscar tried to run, but he was shot twice, but both men survived. Police would go on a search looking for a Playboy member named Jose. They would find Jose in a garage with a lot of incriminating evidence, a cell phone that tracked him to the crime, and a strap that he used in the shooting, and also a bunch of stuff that stated he was a Playboy member. Jose was later sentenced to life. July 9th, 2016, GC was on his way to his friend's house and was driving on 53rd Street when a man named Jesse he knew flagged him down and made him stop. Once he did, a man came to the side of his car and yelled out Playboys and began shooting. GC was shot multiple times, but he survived. A witness at the scene would tell police it was Chepe from Playboys. He was later picked out of a lineup by a witness who lived on the same street as GC was shot on. Jose would later receive life for this crime. As of lately with the Playboys, they have 2 black members who have been rapping and putting on for the Playboys. Rich Rabbit and Mr. Keep a Hood have been rapping for years and bringing light to that area. In 2022, the Eastside Playboys were a target of a massive sweep by the FBI and the LAPD, leading to 28 members being arrested. The raid was called Operation Rabbit Hole, and the police wanted to take out major figures in the gang, and they still are trying to do that to this day. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.